Hello everybody, welcome back to BareRose Garage. What are we going to talk about today? Well, let's talk about carb spacers. That's right, this video here goes out to Bruce Kultgen. I'm sorry if I butchered your name there, but he brought up a good question about this tunnel ram on this 1958 Ford. Now, he asked me to please explain these monster carb spacers. And in the length of that live, I wasn't able to quite go into it too much. So this video is for you and actually what's going on there and why I got what I got. Anyway, let's dive in here. Okay, here we go. We're looking straight down at the tunnel ram here. And I got the carb sitting up on top of it. Now, I'm right in the mock-up phase, so all of this is actually not bolted on, so that makes it very easy. Now these are 2-inch plastic carb spacers that are on it right now. Now the reason I got these is because I got this all as one. I traded that transmission job for it. So it was all complete. It had all of this, it had the carburetors, it had those big old velocity stacks and K&N filters. All of this was together as a package, and that's how I got it. So that's how I ended up with it. But let's go in and see exactly what's going on here, because what I'm dealing with this is this was somebody else's combination. This is what somebody else was trying to do with their engine and their car to make it work. Now I have to use this to see if it's going to work for what I'm doing. But skip through that and let's go into what these carb spacers really are. These are, just your typical Hollies. It's actually a tunnel ram setup though. And the way you tell is because there's no choke in there. And I'll set this down over here. Okay, now you got your big old carb spacer here. You can see they're good 2 inches tall. And they're completely open inside. Now, what I believe he was trying to do with that is he's trying to increase his plenum size. This down here, this part of the tunnel ram, is the plenum. But you can see them there. They're wide open. And they're plastic. Or they're not actually plastic. They're that thermal, resin, whatever they're called. They're made to control heat, so you're not boiling your carburetors. But anyway, that's them. They're really basic and they're actually extremely cheap. When I looked these up on the old Google machine, I think they were about 15-20 bucks a piece. Very cheap. Probably not going to run them. But then we get down in the meat and taters of this all. This is the tunnel ram. Now I don't know if you can see it on camera. I got the camera kind of dangling up there so you can kind of see. But on the tunnel rams, they go straight down into these runners right here. 4 individual runners it feeds. This side, these 2 cylinders, and it feeds them 2 cylinders. On your other carburetor, again, same thing. And here's the second one. We got her all taken off. You can see exact same thing. Now in this one, he had drilled it for the vacuum port. This vacuum port is for your manifold vacuum. Anything that needs manifold vacuum can pull off of here. Power brakes if you want, if you can get enough vacuum out of this to these really drop your vacuum, plus the camshaft you got to run to make these things work really drops your vacuum down. But that's a port that again, the guy that I got this from had already done all this, had done to put that all in. Now when he did it though, he kind of, I don't know if you can see it there, he kind of scarred it up right there. And it goes into that open cavity that's right there. I don't know, I'm not too happy with that. If I do decide to run these, I'll definitely buy another one of these And then I'll put the vacuum port where the vacuum port is supposed to be, which is on the plenum. This is the plenum area of the tunnel ram. And as you can see, it's wide open. There you go. Wide open and dumps right down into them ports that you can see now perfectly. Set this down over here. Now you can see it wide open what the tunnel ram actually looks like with the plenum off, the upper plenum off. Dives right straight down into each one of those cylinders or intake ports, giving it that ram effect as it shoots down in. Now on a tunnel ram, you can see there's this space right here that connects the two. And well, I don't know if I can get it on camera here, but it's wide open in the middle here. What's that's doing, there we go. As the fuel comes down in, this section right here, the equalizer, equalizes the vacuum response through each one of those and kind of helps it get from your primaries here and here, gives it an area to equalize through, so all of your cylinders are getting an equal amount of air-fuel ratio, fuel. So you're not getting too much here and too much here and starving these ones, because these ones are right on top of the secondaries on your carburetor. Okay, that's the easy way to describe what a tunnel ram is. This equalizing area inside of here, it's actually really shallow on a Weiand. On an Edelbrock, this area here, your equalizer, is that plenum, is actually a lot bigger, making Edelbrock tunnel rams a lot easier to tune. In fact, the one that we got up at the other shop is what's the number on it? VX1, VRX1. It's the first editions of the tunnel rams. They're also called the barrel plenum ones. On the one that we got up there for small block Chevy, this upper plenum piece is huge. These areas here are big fat barrels, and the crossover equalizer here is enormous. And the reason for that is to get nice equal flow all through all of these ports. Anyway, makes it very, very easy to tune. So this carburetor doesn't have to be 200% correct in balance with this carburetor. If it's a little bit off on either one, it kind of gets mixed up in the bunch here. So all your cylinders are, well, all your intake ports here are supplying equal amounts to every one of your cylinders. I believe that's what was going on with this. This is what this guy was trying to do that had this before me, is by increasing this area here, he's getting more time for the air-fuel mixture to come down through here on both sides. As these two primaries open up, it gives it more time, so more fuel can get to these back ones here. Does that make sense? By increasing the plenum area with the carb spacer plus the upper intake, it's getting a more even amount of air-fuel ratio mix in order to get it equal all the way down through. I believe that's what he was trying to do with these. Now, I will use these to begin with, and I'll start my tune with these. If she blubbers and spits and spots and all of that stuff, I'll probably drop them down to a 1-inch. I've got a bunch of aluminum ones, Mr. Gasket and Summit ones laying around here, but I'll probably drop them down to that, and then I'll work around with what I've got to get my right mixtures and making sure that these ones aren't running rich, these 4 aren't running rich, and these 4 back here are running lean. And then when you go into all 4, you give it the beans and open up all the secondaries. Well, I'm going to make sure that they're all getting equal amounts and not just one getting too much. And I'll play with that with these. Anyway, I hope that explains it a little bit. Like I said, that was just a quick kind of little video for Bruce out there. Would I have bought those? Probably not. I probably would have started this whole process with the 1-inchers. 2-inch, that's kind of extreme. I don't know how it's going to run with them. I have no idea if I'm going to even use them. Bottom line, when I get all the way down and I know if those are what the engine wants with my cam, this is all part of the tuning much later down the road. Once I get the thing up and going, then I'll start playing with that and working in what I need. It might want a split one. They come in all different varieties. You got the 4-hole ones, you got the divided ones, so one goes one way, one goes, down the middle. They come in all kinds of varieties. And that's what they're doing is, with those varieties, and what you can do with those different varieties is how to keep your fuel mixtures right for what the purpose you're doing. As for the 4-hole ones, I probably won't use one of them because that'll just emphasize my primaries going to those 4 ports and not prioritizing the equalization as it comes down in. And again, if this was an Edelbrock one with the bigger common plenum area, like that barrel plenum tunnel ram that we've got up at the other shop, a lot of this would be a lot easier. But when you start doing that, you take away a little bit of the actual hot performance out of it. But I don't care about that. I'm not looking for every single little horsepower that I can squeeze out of this 460. It's got plenty enough for what I'm doing. So, I hope that explains it a little bit more for you, and if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them down in the little comment section here. And if you have a good one up there that I can throw out here in video form to try to explain it a little better, or if I missed something in that, pop it in the comments there, and I'll do my best to try to explain not exactly what it is, the best for it, but what's for the best, is going to work best for the combination that I'm doing with it, if that makes sense. That's the joy of cars. You've heard it said 1,000,000 times. There's 1,000,001 ways to skin a cat, and that is so true. But the only easy way to skin a cat is to have somebody else hold that kitty while you're sharpening the knife. And who's got that luxury? Let's just dive in there and get greasy and cut to pieces. Let's go and get out there and keep that metal hot. We'll catch you on the next one.